About a month ago, I got this letter in the mail. And it says that it's from Connect. I'm assuming that's Coco Connect, and this letter has something to do with the CoCoION Ethernet adapter. Let's see what's inside the letter. Alright, I've already opened up the letter, so take a look. When I first opened this up this way, I was a little bit confused. Why would this letter have a piece of cardboard in it? Why would somebody send me a piece of cardboard? And then I turned it over, and I saw these squares. I'm like, I wonder what that could be. So, seemed to be something underneath this tape. So I peeled back the tape and, oh, that looks an awful lot like a GAL chip. This must be for the CoCoION Ethernet adapter. Alright, so I have an adapter here, and we can take a look at it. This is the original one that I got from CoCoFest. The top basically just pops right off. And we can see right here, this is the chip that we're going to replace. This is the GAL chip. So let's just replace it and see what happens. So I've got my chip puller here. If you don't have one of these, this is actually the correct way to remove these PLCC chips. So the way that you use this is you stick these little hooks. There's 2 little holes, one here and one over here. Let me just adjust this 1 second. All right. And you put the little hooks into these holes. Oops, there's one. I need both of these little hooks to get down in there. All right. And you push, you don't squeeze it yet. You push down until it goes all the way into the bottom of the socket. Right, so this puller is all the way in the bottom of the socket. And once it's all the way in the bottom of the socket, you just give this thing a squeeze. And the chip pulls right out like that. Then you let it go. So, that's the old chip that's out. Let's get the new one. So here's the new chip. And I asked what this actually says. You can see it on camera. You can actually see that it says 8.1, but that's a little bit hard to see. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape on here to label this so we know exactly what this is. I do have a label maker, but it's a little bit of a waste for this. Alright, so this is 1112 8.1. Okay, we take this little chip out, and I've covered it up with tape so we can look at the bottom. You see on the bottom, here, there's one corner. See this side here has a corner? That lines up with this corner over here. So we need to put it in this way. And if you have it lined up properly, it should just pop right in, right like that. And this is the old chip. Might as well use the cardboard and the tape to keep that safe. So there we go. chip is installed. We can put the top back on. And now we can do some testing. I've got my Coco 3 powered up here. And I have a Mega Mini MPI and the Coco SDC. And also one of my CoCoION Ethernet cards. So I'm going to load up this demo. It's going to be Nitrous 9 Ease of Use. And we're going to run basically the same test programs that I ran in my previous video on the CoCoION Ethernet. I know it's been a while, but this actually has not worked at all until we got the new Gauss and all the problems were figured out. So I have to change a setting to keep this in RGB mode. There we go. So if I initialize the card, it will read the configuration file, and it set my MAC address. I like to use Coffee, the IP address and the gateway and the net mask. So with that configured, I should be able to ping one of the machines on my network. Yep, that works just fine. And then I had an echo test program. And we can do UDP ping. This is actually not a ping. This actually sends a string to the echo service on port 7. And port 7 has both TCP and UDP. So we just did the UDP test, and we can see every single time it says hello internet back. We can go ahead and change this to TCP. It should work exactly the same. And it does. We'll have the NTP date program. We'll just use their IP address 128.138.141.172. This is like time.nist.gov. Yeah, that looks right. If I go in here and add a, whoops, I remember how to do it. If I go in here and add a time zone, I need to add one more. Whoops. Okay, T minus 8. Maybe I don't need this one. Yeah, let's see what that does. Yeah, my watch says it's 6:32 p.m. So that looks right. Yeah. So these were all the tests that I had before. There was actually one more test which I didn't actually have on video, and this is it's called buff test. Right. So what this buff test is doing is it's writing different patterns into one of the registers in the CoCoION Ethernet card. It wrote a 0, it wrote a 0, then it wrote 55AA, and you see that it says errors are 0 and tries are 0. So this has all kinds of loops and things. This is just working. This is just flat out, if I went back to the old Gao chip, all of these tests would be failing left and right. And here they're all working perfectly. So I think the new Gao chip really does work. can ping this Google name server actually going over the internet. Yeah. And remember, this is not an exact time. This isn't really real time units. It's just a loop that counts some time. Can ping another one. These are just random name servers. I don't know if you can ping 1.1.1.1. Oh, you can. Has a different time. So, after replacing the chip, it's actually working. So I think it's time to continue working on my library. As if you guys remember, I was working on a little socket library before. That was in one of my videos. Continue working on that, get that finished up. And also, the real thing I wanted to do, which is get drive wire over the Ethernet card. And I did start writing the code for that. So now that the card seems to be working and passing all of these tests, it's time to continue that work. I think I'm going to be working on that in the near future. So this is the update that I had for you today. A working CoCoION Ethernet card and all of the tests passing. Alright everyone, that's what I had for you today. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.